Nigel Scully, and you're not supporting it, obviously. I do want to move on because gun control, of course, is in the headlines in the US. You're often outspoken about this. When this happened, I was shocked to hear it was the 18th school shooting alone in the US this year. Surely this gives people here thinking that our gun control laws are too restrictive some pause for thought.
That story that there's been 18 school shootings this year is false. It's fake news. There is actually an analysis of those so-called school shootings floating around at the moment, and some of them there was no shooting at all. Some of them the shooting occurred outside the school and it was just a stray bullet that ended up landing in a school. It's a load of bull. There have not been 18 school shootings this year. There is a broader issue though, and that is, why do any school shootings occur in America? That's really a tough one. They don't occur in other countries that don't have Australia's gun laws: Switzerland, Czech Republic, New Zealand, Canada. They have much more relaxed gun laws than Australia has, and yet they don't have school shootings. So what is it about America? I don't know. I can't explain that. Some people in America say the reason is because there is nobody in the school to protect the kids, which it's sad that someone is needed to protect the kids, but it's true that most schools in America are gun-free zones. You're not allowed to take a gun, so that the nutcases who then decide to go and make a name for themselves by shooting up the kids, they know jolly well there's no one going to be there to shoot back at them. You know, I feel sad that even arises, and it does, as I said, it doesn't arise in other countries, but, you know, I haven't got all the answers, I'm afraid.
I mean, that's interesting. On the one hand, if you're going to have relaxed gun laws, then perhaps the argument is, and you need people in schools with guns, but other people would say, have tougher gun control laws. You won't need people in schools with guns because people won't be able to buy them and take them in there. Yes,
that's the argument. But I mean, if you took the view that where you have relaxed gun laws, you have more school shootings, and where you have tight gun laws, you don't have school shootings, you would look for evidence of that. There isn't any. America is the only country I know of where they have school shootings, and in the Czech Republic they have gun laws very much like America's, and it depends which state you're talking about in America, of course they vary. In Switzerland they have more guns per head of population, I think, than America does. Certainly there's an awful lot of guns in Switzerland. They don't have school shootings. The kind of rifle that that murderer used in Florida just recently in the school was an AR-15. Those rifles are really, really common. You can have them in New Zealand, you can have them in Canada, plus of course America and Switzerland and all over the world. They're very, very common rifles. There's nothing particularly sinister about them. So I don't know what it is about America that leads to these mass shootings. Overall, the level of gun violence in America is declining, notwithstanding these school shootings. But obviously, getting kids shot is just absolutely tragic.
Look, I think there's no doubt there are other cultural factors there as well. But when we're seeing article after article talking about, you know, the wringing of the hands over there on the inability to get gun control and pointing to Australia as an example, I know you said before that if you look at the overall stats, there haven't been fewer incidents since Port Arthur, but the fact is once you can't get semi-automatic and automatic weapons, the scale of these things is going to be a lot less in most cases.
No, there's no evidence for that unless you take a very, very simple binary comparison. America has much more relaxed gun control than Australia does. It has school shootings. Australia has very tight gun control. It has no school shootings. If you're a simple-minded soul, you might say, oh, well, there you are. What more do you need? But look, New Zealand doesn't have Australia's gun control laws, so you can still buy semi-automatic rifles in New Zealand. They don't have school shootings. Canada, same story. In fact, many countries, they don't have school shootings. America is a bit of an outlier because of these things, and to go assuming that there's only two countries in the world and two ways of looking at gun laws is just very simple-minded, quite frankly.
There's no evidence, though, at all, is there, that being able to easily or more easily get automatic weapons in Australia would be good for our overall number of homicide deaths through guns?
Well, before 1997, when John Howard introduced his gun laws, the rate of gun violence, deaths and injuries and so forth was declining. After 1997, when those laws took effect, the rate of gun violence, deaths, murders, so forth, continued to decline. And the statistics, what the statistics show is that the rate of decline was identical. In other words, it made absolutely no difference. So people will kill each other, people will shoot each other, people will use guns in armed crime, armed hold-ups, all that sort of thing, irrespective of the laws, because they're a different type of people from the kind that are affected by gun laws. The people affected by gun laws are law-abiding people, and they don't use guns in crime. It's very rare for them to use them, for misuse them at all. And criminals, of course, are criminals because they don't abide by